Now I tried to look up how lead got in the water, drinking water up in Galesburg, and the only thing I can figure out is like when you solder water lines coming into the house, you use lead in the solder, and the solder, when you're soldering water lines, you have the lead in the solder. But other than that, I looked it up on the web, on Google, and I couldn't find out anywhere where they get lead in the water coming into the houses. But anyways, I thought I'd campaign a little about the drinking water up in Galesburg. That's like the people up in Galesburg that need to redo their water lines out and coming into their houses. They'd have to tear up all their yards. So I'm going to go on the basis that the federal government would pay to have a landscaper to come in and re-landscape their yard, have a plumber to come in and do all the plumbing in their house, or have, if they didn't want to do that, have them come in and have bottled water brought into their house, drinking water. The federal government would pay to have bottled water brought into their house for clean drinking water. This money, it'd be tax-free. That's like I always say, money would come from nowhere under my government. That's like during war, we always seem to be able to come up with money from nowhere to fight a war. I'd have a Department of Peace where the money comes from nowhere. It'd be run through several branches of government, through different branches, and it'd be doled out as much money as needed be. We wouldn't go. That's like the way the government that runs now. They say we're going to spend so much money, and they cut it off. I'm going to say as much money as we need. We spend as much money as we need. That's like the stealth bomber. They didn't say we're only going to spend so much money and we stop. I say we're going to spend as much money as we have to take care of the problem. When we're landscaping your yard, we spend as much money as we need to make it look like you want your yard to look like. Okay, when we're tearing up your sewer system and your whole yard to fix this lead in your lines, the whole city of Galesburg will go from end to end and replace all the water lines. We won't do it halfway, we'll do it all the way. That sounds a little pricey, but there's no sense in doing it halfway. If you got a little bit of problem, you got a whole lot of problems. So you might as well go in and do it all the way, start at one end of the city and go on to the other end of the city and replacing all the water lines. If you got a little bit of lead in the water lines, you got a whole lot of lead in the water lines. So you might as well let the federal government pay for all of it. The people don't have money to do it right. So the federal government would have it would be done by construction workers, which would get paid 60% of $300 an hour to come in and replace the water lines. You'd have backhoe workers, which would get paid 60% of $300 an hour. I don't know what landscapers get paid, but they might get paid 60% of $300 an hour to come in and re-landscape your yard, all the bushes, the people that do the bushes in your yard, all the landscaping, the plumbers. That may be $400 an hour because they're more skilled. Plumbers are more skilled. But they come in and plumb your property, put in all new plumbing in your house. You may not want your house tore up, but, to get the lead out of your water lines. But the federal government would pay for it. That's what I back. The federal government puts the bill on everything. That's like during a war when we go over to a foreign country. The federal government puts the bill in a foreign country when we go over to fight a war. When we're over there fighting ISIS, our government puts the bill over fighting ISIS. When we're up in Galesburg replacing water lines, our government would fit the whole bill. That's like we drop one bomb, that's $500. We set one plane after the other. In one day, we would do several blocks, $500 bombs. So in one day, we could probably do the whole city in Galesburg, figuring how much it costs to launch a plane, and what we're spending on fighting ISIS. Our government could probably figure on fighting or redoing the whole city of Galesburg water system, and not even blink an eye. This money comes from nowhere, but that's what I'm going to do if elected president. I'll go in all the cities with lead in their water lines, one city after the other. The federal government will go in and replace the water lines, not just Galesburg, but all cities with lead in their water lines. The federal government will go in and replace the water lines in all the cities, one end to the other of the cities. All the houses, replace all the lead in all the lines in the houses, all the plumbing, tear up all the yards and replace all the landscaping, and do it right. There's no sense in doing it halfway, and make it look right. Thank you very much, David Formhals, Department of Peace. The money comes from nowhere. We don't pay it back to anybody. Thank you.